Thank you, Chairman Carper, and thank everybody who's here today for calling this business meeting and for your ongoing commitment to a bipartisan process for this bill that we are considering today, the Surface Transportation Reauthorization Act of 2021. I have always been optimistic that we would get here, but I am absolutely thrilled that we are reached a bipartisan agreement that will address our nation's surface transportation needs. I also want to provide special thanks to Senator Cardin and to Senator Kramer who lead the subcommittee on transportation and infrastructure. Their support and partnership during this process was absolutely instrumental in helping us to reach an agreement, so thank you both. I also want to thank our staff, Mr. Chairman. I know they've spent a lot of nights, long nights, for their commitment to this process and for the long hours and hard work that they have dedicated to this bill. Today proves that, once again, that we can come together to develop a bill that reflects input from both parties and the stakeholder communities. This has been one of my top priorities as ranking member of this committee. Since the start of this process, I've been focused on policies that, 1, enable long-term investment in our nation's roads and bridges in a fiscally responsible manner, 2, provide certainty and flexibility in our states and other partners, for our states and other partners, and 3, keep the federal interest focused on providing a connected network of roads and bridges to ensure that all communities and economies can thrive. Additionally, I've been looking to facilitate the efficient delivery of projects in order to improve the safety and resiliency of our surface transportation system and to drive innovation to help pave the way for the surface transportation system of the future. I'm proud to say that this bill meets many and accomplishes many of these goals. I'd like to take a few minutes to share some of the highlights of our bipartisan legislation. It's a 5-year bill that presents significant funding levels, $303.5 billion out of the Highway Trust Fund. It will ensure long-term investment in our nation's roads and bridges while providing states and communities the flexibility that they need to address their unique transportation needs. The bill will distribute 90% of total funding to states through formula, giving the states the flexibility and the certainty necessary to get those projects in the years ahead. This funding distribution will benefit all parts of the country, including both urban and rural areas. I'm particularly excited about the $2 billion Rural Surface Transportation Grant Program that will provide competitive grants for projects that increase connectivity and generate economic growth in rural America. Among the projects eligible for a grant under this project are projects that will further the completion of the Appalachian Development Highway System. Completing this ADHS is absolutely essential to me and to my home state of West Virginia. Finishing this will better connect West Virginia and will open up significant economic opportunities. So passage of this bill is a big step in that direction. This bill will provide significant funding for bridges through a new grant program, which also is important to my state, but everybody's state here and certainly in Delaware as well. The bill also provides provisions that will improve the project delivery process for states and other partners. Notably, we codified the one federal decision, which will provide more accountability to the environmental review and permitting process by including page limits and joint agency schedules for projects within the goal of completing environmental reviews in 2 years. This bill also requires reporting timelines on the NEPA, which is the National Environmental Permitting Authority? Yes. All right. This reduces our paperwork burdens and provides opportunity for the adoption of categorical exclusions between agencies through rulemaking. Safety, as the chairman says, is a top priority that we all share. To address a variety of safety needs, we increased funding of the Highway Safety Improvement Program and provided state fundings that carry out resiliency improvements to their roads and bridges and improve evacuation routes. There is a lot in this bill for both sides and for all communities, no matter the size or region in the country. It represents the true give and take, I think, of bipartisan compromise. Most importantly, it will drive economic growth and in the future create jobs while also improving the quality of life of those in our country. We share a common goal, getting a bipartisan reauthorization bill across the finish line before the expiration of the FAST Act. Today is an important step in that process. Finally, today, the committee will be voting on other important committee matters, including 10 GSA resolutions. I am pleased to support the nominations of Shannon Esternos to be Assistant Secretary for Fish and Wildlife and Parks to the Department of Interior, Michal Friedhoff to be Assistant Administrator for Chemical Safety and Pollution Prevention at EPA. And while I have enjoyed getting to know Radhika Fox and am impressed by her qualifications, she would not commit to maintaining the Navigable Waters Protection Rule issued in 2020, but she also would not state that the 2015 Waters of the U.S. rule was overreaching. Very vague in her answers. So for that policy reason, I cannot support her nomination today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back my time.